Hi everyone, for tonight's Nightcap and review, I'm having an adult beverage on the rocks and I'll be reviewing Arkyn Reborn by Arianna Isabella. This is a book I received as an ARC, but of course I'm always going to give my honest opinion. These are the tropes. And these are the content warnings. I did get Ari's permission to post these, and please pause to read. She is really great about making sure that you as the reader are fully informed as to what you're about to read. So she goes into detail as what you're going to come across in her books, and I as a reader really appreciate that. Now, my rating for this book is going to be a 4.25. It was an adventure to get to that rating, and I'm happy to go over it, but it was an exciting read in the end, and I am happy to share and talk about it. So first, what's this book about? So this book is about a realm called Arkyn, where powerful gods and their descendants walk and rule the realm. And this book starts off with the ascension of one of those goddesses, Alaxia, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. On the night of her ascension, however, she is unalived by someone close to her for many reasons, but one of those reasons being a grab for power. This, however, sets off a chain of events where Alaxia is then reincarnated on Earth, and the current reincarnation is Isra. And if I'm getting that name wrong, I'm sorry as well. Isra is unfamiliar, doesn't remember her goddess past, so she is very much caught unaware when evil comes knocking at her door. Because in the centuries since her passing, her murderer has been able to amass great power, so much so realms have fallen in her wake. With little standing in her path, it is time for the goddess within Isra to awaken and take control with new and old friends and loves by her side against this great evil. But will it be enough for this newly awakened goddess to fight and beat back this great evil with such large armies in order for control of the realms? So what are my thoughts on this book? Again, it's a 4.25. As I mentioned earlier, this was a journey getting here. I previously actually read this back when I first got the ARC. I even made a post saying I was currently reading it, but I didn't post a review at that time. And the main reason is I had a trouble connecting with the book. And I was honest with Ari about that. I was like, I'm having trouble connecting with this book. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to read your other series, the Eden series. Eden in Sunder, and then Eclipsed by Dawn, Eden, Eclipsed by Dawn. Now, those two books describe how Arkyn came into existence. It's not the same storyline, but it tells you how it's starting the story of how the world came to be. And I felt that by reading those, I would better understand and be able to connect to this book, Arkyn Reborn, A Thief's Flame. And I'm kind of feeling like that really did benefit me when I reread this. So I would recommend reading those two books so that you could better understand how this world works, or at least how this world came to be. Now, since this all happened, Ari and I had a conversation. She added a codex. I do think the codex is perfect and gives great insight into this world and will help readers better understand it. But I do think having read those books also provides a little more nuance. Like there was a couple Easter eggs I was like, oh yeah, that came from that book. So that's just my opinion. Those are great novellas. I think they qualify as novellas. Great quick reads that would, I think, make this book much more enjoyable, because once I did that, I was able to enjoy this book a lot more. And that's how I got to a 4.25. My first read, it was a little lower, but with the reread, having read those and the codex being added, I was able to enjoy the book a lot more. Now, these are just my thoughts. Ari is very well aware. We had a discussion about these, and she's amazing. I'm so glad we can have those conversations. But that's just my thought on the reading order of this book and why I had a hard time connecting. And even then, there were still some moments in this book where that was a little hard for me to connect with, but I think that has to do with Ari has a very beautiful, distinctive way of writing. She is very descriptive, very flowery, and she creates beautiful scenes. But she also, while she's creating these beautiful scenes, is also doing a lot of world building. And world building can be a lot to take on, especially when you have a lot of beautiful language. And there are a lot of characters in this book that you are trying to learn and understand. And it was just a lot going on that sometimes, I will admit, I had a hard time connecting. But the overall plot was very interesting and I did enjoy it, and I'm glad I stuck with it. I mean, I reread it a second time and I don't regret rereading it. And with the end of this book, when the action really starts to take off, when goddesses are fighting against other creatures, my heart was pounding and I was on the end of my seat. I really enjoyed a lot of the characters, and there's a lot of nuance with some of these characters because you have secret double stabbing or backstabbing people, or people are hidden and kind of spying. So there's a lot of nuance to some of these characters where at first you're like, you don't like them, but then you kind of learn things about them and you're like, okay, I see what's happening. So she is very good along with these complex books, coming up with complex characters that I appreciate. They're definitely for exciting and interesting reads. The female character, Isra, as she is on Earth, was definitely intriguing to read, and I started to like her a lot more as the book got on, especially when she finally came into her goddess hood and she started to kick butt. I was like, oh my god, I love her and I really enjoyed reading her. Now, again, this is a 4.25. It was a bit of an adventure to get here, but I am so glad I stuck with it. I can understand why this book may not be for everyone, but I would encourage everyone to give it a try and stick with it because it's a wild ride and you will enjoy it. And I'm excited for her next book that comes out in the series because this does leave on a cliffhanger, because I am sure things are going to pick up and be just so exciting with how it ended. So I am definitely excited for it. Now, this book will be available August 24th. Definitely give it a try. I don't regret it. And it was such a good read. And I thank Ari again for giving me a copy. I hope everyone has a good night and happy readings.